Hi, everybody. It's episode 614 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here.
And the new Yoshi game comes out tomorrow.
I've seen some good reviews for it. I didn't know there was a new Yoshi game coming out.
I would like to play the new Yoshi game, but I need a Switch 2 first, and money to buy new Yoshi game. Said new Yoshi game.
And if you don't buy a Switch 2 in the next month, the price is going up.
Exactly. Which is not great. But
it's not. But you know what? While it sucks all around, Nintendo at least publicized it in advance, and apparently is trying to sell pick your own bundles. It sounds like to offset some of the cost, maybe.
I might look into seeing if I can find anywhere that does what's it called, a firm or something like that, the pay monthly plans.
Layaway?
No, there are you can even do it on Amazon. You can just buy it and you can pay for it monthly.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see what you mean now.
Not layaway, whereas they hold it until you pay for it. It's just a monthly bill, a monthly charge. At this point, I think that may be the only way I get a Switch 2 before the end of the year, is if I were to do that.
Yeah, it sucks because it is a lot of money to drop. Just that end of statement. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and then on top of that, for the sole reason I'm now buying it at this point is to avoid the tariffs because the prices are going up.
And it might not be the last time they go up.
Exactly. It's might as well get it now when it's cheaper. It's basically I'm saving money by spending money because it's something I will be getting. There's no doubt about it. I will be getting it. It's just, can I figure out a way to get it now? I wonder if Best Buy has anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know if Best Buy does. Like you said, I know Amazon does it.
And we'll see. I'll have to shop around. I actually almost bought one a few weeks ago. Because it was a decent price, I think. But it was at Costco, and it wasn't. It was only the Switch 2. It wasn't it didn't have the bundle. It wasn't bundled with Mario Kart or anything.
Yeah, I saw. I think it was. They're doing it. They're doing a bundle where you can pick one of 5 games with it. Mm-hmm. So Pokopia is on there, Donkey Kong, Mario Kart. So basically all the first party Switch games that are out right now that anyone would want to play.
I mean, I could get a Best Buy credit card and pay for that, which honestly, the infrequency that I shop at Best Buy, it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, it's not it sucks, but also, pay it off before the whatever, because generally they'll do the no interest for X amount of time,
yeah,
pay it off in that amount of time, and it becomes a non-issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that though, Rich, you went to some sort of escape room.
Yeah, so it was my friend's bachelor party this weekend, and we did an escape room. And then we went around town, and then we also did laser tag at the same place we did in the escape room. Nice. It was an exhausting day. The laser tag was a lot more fun, but a lot more work than I was expecting, because it was 2 floors. It was running around, and it was only
wow.
It was teams of 3. We only had about 6 guys there, unfortunately, for the laser tag. So it was small teams, but it was still it was pretty good. It was a lot. It was our own group. It wasn't anybody else with us. It was just us, and it was fun. It was exhausting. But we did an escape room. And so I'm not going to shout out this place because I am potentially going to talk spoilers about the escape room. Specifically, one of the other escape rooms they were showing us when we were there. So the escape room we did was a wizard-based one where you're trying to find the crystal skull. No, it's not Indiana Jones. But there's a bunch of little different puzzle things that you have to do with, at one point there was a Bluetooth magic wand that you were supposed to use in front of a screen. Unfortunately, because the little kids were playing with it whenever they were there and stuff, the magic wand wasn't quite working, so we had to skip that puzzle. But there was a lot of there's a lot of just really cool puzzles. It was very fun, very cool place. We ended up clearing it within I think we had about 7 minutes left, give or take. And it ended up being the hardest puzzle we had there was a puzzle where we had to pull chains in a specific order. and people weren't listening to each other. So we had there was 8 chains and there was 9 of us, I believe, or something like that. And we had to pull them in a specific order, and we're trying to explain, like, I think it's this, this, and this, and everyone's like, so we hold it. It's like, no, you pull it. All right, so I'm going to hold it. No, we need to find the order. And there was one guy who unfortunately was not feeling very good. He started feeling sick midway through. At one point, he kind of just sat down and was just sitting there, just waiting for somebody to tell him what to do. But it was like there were no notifications or identifiers that you were doing it right. And so like we were watching and we were seeing the combo, and like we would, all right, you guys pull, then you guys pull, then you guys pull. And people were like pulling and holding and not like pulling and letting go. And so I think at one point we struggled with that for so long. We probably struggled with that for at least 5 minutes. I think at one point the game masters were listening in, knew that we understood how to do it, and that just for some reason it wasn't working, and they just hit the button for us to keep going or something like that. Because it was
interesting.
Yeah, it was it was weird that like that part of that puzzle was probably like the hardest. And then after that, unfortunately, the room was very dark, so like there was a lot of color-based puzzles, and there was not a lot of just plain normal light for us to see. So we had to run into a different room to see the colors of certain things and come back and forth to make sure we had the colors right for certain color correction. There was a book that like somebody grabbed and looked through it and just put it off to the side, which like gives you the answers and the solves. But somebody like looked at it and saw one puzzle, one word, and was like, "All right, this is how we do it." And I normally I'm the one to take charge in escape rooms because I just love puzzles, and I'm all about winning. And so, like, I was trying to not be the one to take charge. But after a certain point, I was like, let me see that book. And I'm like, oh, here's the puzzle. Here's the solve for this. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, so this says this. And I start reading it out. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Let's do that. I'm like, all right, next page. All right, this says this. So this is the solve for, this is what we got. And it's just like, I was like, boom, 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 boom. This is how we got to do it. This is how it gets done. But it was a very cool escape room. It was a very cool place. They do... they have, like I said, they have the escape rooms and then they have laser tag, and they have like 2 lower budget escape rooms is what he explained to us. We were talking to the guy after we were done. And he was trying to sell us on some of the other escape rooms. The ones we booked, were the one we did, the wizard one was a bit of a lower budget, and then he showed us the rooms of the higher budget. So one of them was like a Bates Motel sort of situation where you're trying to escape house or something like that. Another one, you're trying to escape an Egyptian tomb, which he let us like go inside and look at it, and it was like, I was like, oh, it looked incredible. I want to go back and do that one. And then the last one he showed us was another horror themed one. It's like a horror movie themed one where he starts you out. One person is stuck in a chair while everyone else are in separate rooms, and they're trying to shout answers back and forth to each other. And every time they get like a solve wrong or a puzzle wrong, you get like shocked, whoever's stuck in the chair, until they can free you and get you into the next room. It's not like I'm sure it's not like an electric shock. The chair probably just moves or something. But then like he showed us the next room after that, and it's the bathroom from Saw 1. It's basically an exact replica of the bathroom from Saw 1. And like the room goes back and then circles around, and he showed me, because everyone else like left and walked away, and I was talking to him because I love the idea of escape rooms. If I could own an escape room, I would. But he was talking to me about it. He's like, oh yeah, I want to show you my favorite part, and he's like, do you mind spoilers? I'm like, no, not really, because I'll probably forget. So anybody who's from the general Westchester area and is doing escape rooms, spoiler now. Don't listen for a little bit if you don't want to know. He's like, all right, here, let me show you this. And he pulls me into the last room. He's like, this is the last room, and the basic idea is you're trying to solve the name of the killer. Once you solve the name of the killer, an Iron Maiden opens, and you have to sacrifice one person to the Iron Maiden. And you get locked into the Iron Maiden, whoever that one person is. You are then guided, the players are then guided to another puzzle, and while they're trying to solve that final puzzle, which does nothing. The person who was sacrificed is then being released from the Iron Maiden on the other side, where the game master is giving them a costume to put on to run in and scare the shit out of their friends that are solving the puzzle.
That's
For
kind of
being the one that
awesome.
gets sacrificed.
For being, yes. So I was like, that is incredible. I need to come back. And now I will probably always remember this, and I will be the one that gets sacrificed when I do this. And he's like, you have to be now. I'm like, I kind of do, because I'll know what's happening.
Or you forget until after the sacrifice is picked, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I can't make a big argue. You can't be like, I'll do it, I'll be sacrificed. But it's like, it's definitely, like, planning escape rooms, especially keeping this hidden from people, like planning escape rooms, it's a little difficult with, like, a lot of the people I know who go to them because they have kids and they want to do kid-friendly ones. It's like, this one is definitely not kid-friendly. Definitely not. And so, like, I gotta pick and choose. And so I told the group I was with, I was like, he told me a secret about the end, and they're like, don't tell us. I'm like, all right, we're doing this again, and we're doing that one because that one's incredible. So it's a possible chance I'll be able to do that one. But, like, some of the puzzles seem just really cool, and I love the idea of, like, all right, you get sacrificed, now you get to scare the shit out of your friends. And I'm just like, that's going to be so fun. That's going to be ridiculous. And, like, the puzzle they're trying to solve is a red herring puzzle. It does nothing to get you out of the room. It's just a distraction so that you have time to put on the costume to barge in. But, yeah, so it was a good time. It was a good time. It's an escape room out in Westchester. So if you guys are from that area, know that area, you'd probably be able to find the escape room based on what I've explained. But now you know the spoilers of the last room, or the horror room. So now you have to be the sacrifice. But yeah, it was a really cool day. Very tiring and exhausting. Then I got to hang out with Drew's dad the next day.
Nice.
I heard he was painting the parents' house.
Yeah, he came over. We had to put up drywall. My dad's setting up a drop ceiling for his kitchen, and we had to put up the drywall for it. And he came over to help put up the drywall because it ended up being only the three of us, me and my dad and him. Thank God he came, because that job would have taken twice as long if he weren't there, and it was exhausting already. It was hot, and it was just
drywall is not easy if it's not something you do all the time.
And it's putting drywall on the ceiling, which is even harder.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I thought he was putting a drop ceiling.
He was putting so he lowered the ceiling a bit and put the drywall up there. And now he has to, like, drill holes in there to, like, do the wires and stuff. So it's sort of a drop ceiling, but not a drop ceiling in the sense of it's all panel. It's a drop ceiling in the sense of it's just drywall.
Why?
Just because it'll make it easier to sell the house.
Really?
Yeah, for one reason or another, it's going to make it easier to sell the house.
That's weird, but okay.
I guess people don't want to deal with ceiling tile anymore. I don't really know. I don't know why he decided to do that, but he's doing it. He did it.
Cool. Well, with that out of the way, Rich, what's on the agenda?
On the agenda, we all should have watched My Cousin Vinny. And then I played a board game I might have talked about in the past, but I actually played a lot more of it this time. And Cobb, you started reading a couple of DC comics. I'm assuming they're comics.
Yes.
So we'll talk about those and all that stuff.
So what did you guys think of My Cousin Vinny?
It's a great movie. It's a very quotable movie.
It's very funny.
It is.
Yes.
Like, Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei are just fucking perfect in that movie.
Yeah. Great, perfect casting. Just a very good, funny, silly, like, entry and comedy into, like, courthouse movies. I was saying this to Cobb before we started. I forgot that it was a book club week until yesterday, midway through stream, and I didn't end up getting done stream till closer to midnight. So I was like, there's no way I can watch this before I go to bed. So I ended up having to watch it today, and it's a good movie to have on as, like, background noise because there's not a lot of physical comedy. It's all, like, it's all spoken. Like, all the comedy, it's all jokes, which is great. It's great. I probably say Utes at least once a week because of this movie. The Utes. Excuse me.
The Utes.
The what? The what? The Utes. Oh, the Utes.
I also love the deer thing. it's where Marissa Tomei's like, imagine you're a deer, and at the end of it, she's like, bam, a fucking bullet rips through your head.
Who the fuck cares what kind of pants you're wearing? Yeah. It's great. Like, I remember the first time I saw this movie was many years ago. But like still like in my 20s, late teens, early 20s is when I'd seen it. And like I have a cousin named Vinny, and it's I never really make those references with him. He's not as funny. But he's also not Joe Pesci, so like can't really make those jokes with him. But it's just like it's just something that like I feel like no matter how old you are, no matter when it's from, when like I think it ages perfectly. Like yes, it's dated. Like everything's old. There's no cell phones or whatever, but like it doesn't.
Yeah, it holds up.
Yeah, it holds up. It doesn't go like. It doesn't get racist. It doesn't get like cancelable or anything like that.
Yeah, like there's nothing that like jumped out at me as like, oh, they couldn't say that today.
Yeah, like there's obviously those themes of a girl knows cars, yeah, right, kind of shit. But that would
happen today too.
That happens today too. Yeah, and it's more of like a she's gonna prove you wrong kind of trope, and that's it always works.
And like in that specific scene too, it's like. It's the older Southern guy doesn't believe that a lady would know about cars.
Well, I mean, it was done twice, though, too. It was done in the courthouse. It was also done at the very beginning of the movie.
Oh, you're right. You're right. But I was thinking specifically of like the trial where the prosecutor's like, what's the timing for X, Y, and Z? And she's just like, I can't answer that. It's a trick question. Fuck you.
Yeah. I feel like. Now, I don't know court stuff and court drama and trial stuff very well, but I feel like it holds up pretty decently to how actual trials are ran.
That I don't know, but it's definitely in line with how trials are run on TV and movies.
Exactly. Like, it doesn't seem too egregious to me.
Said about it.
That's, I should have watched that video.
Because, yeah, he there was a little while he was doing a series like rating the legal accuracy of movies and TV shows, and I'm pretty sure My Cousin Vinny was like the first one he ever did. So I think there's a lot like walking into the God, now I can't remember the name, the space between the lawyer desks and the judge's bench, like that does not happen. You don't do that unless you specifically ask. So, like walking up to the jurors, like
like that's
really
you're
an extreme no.
You are supposed to stay at your table. You're not supposed to actually walk around and address anyone directly. You're supposed to just stand there and talk.
I feel like that is something that they portray happening in older movies a lot more than recent stuff. Because I feel like in a lot of recent things that I'm thinking of, the lawyers do tend to be like just at their desk or whatever, the table.
Yeah.
Almost it's like they've kind of like cut back on it.
Yeah, for sure. But otherwise, I do think he said it is a pretty accurate like representation of a trial.
I pulled up the video, and I believe he called it a legal masterpiece.
Yes, I mean he absolutely loves that movie.
Yeah, it's a legal masterpiece. Masterful cross-examination is one of the goods and the positives. And he's reviewing this based on the actual trial work of Pesci's character, and not just like they keep it pretty accurate. Is based on legal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen this movie a bunch of times before. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since I last saw it, but it's always funny. Like it's definitely one of those movies where like I couldn't watch it every week or anything like that, but the jokes land even when you know what's coming, just because of like the delivery is hilarious.
It's a good movie to watch like once a year or something like that for sure. Like it's a good movie to have on rotation of movies to watch.
I don't do that all that often.
Neither do I, but it's still like I would not be upset if I were streaming. Like I've said this in the past when it comes to movies and reviewing them and whatnot and rating them. Like this is definitely a movie that I wouldn't seek out specifically, but if I were flipping through the channels and it were on, it would stay on.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like that would definitely fall into like if it was on TV and I had nothing else to like that I wanted to watch, and I was gonna, especially if I was gonna be doing something else like playing Switch or like reading, like I would definitely put that on and probably pay way more attention to it than I intended to.
Yeah, exactly. It's a movie that'll pull you in and distract you more than you expected.
Yeah,
and it's just funny. It's a classic in my opinion. I don't know if it's part of like the 100 movies you need to see before you die, but it definitely should be.
Yeah.
Let's see if like, because I know that number that list probably changes all the time.
I mean, I would hope. Like, if that list is just always the same, it's going to be very outdated very quick.
I mean, that assumes there are that are worth watching in comparison.
I mean, there are, though.
So My Cousin Vinny is not part of the official American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Movies list. So no. But
I don't know, I feel like it definitely should be.
I wonder how many comedies are on that list at all.
I mean, that's a good question. Like, I'd have to...
Yeah, comedies and action movies get treated like low class in a lot of cases.
Oh yeah, I've had the idea for around award season time to watch like best pictures, like Grammy or Grammys. Is that the highest one?
Oscars, Grammys, or music.
Grammys or music. Yeah, Oscars. The like Oscar Best Picture films, and just like pick the winners of like the last couple of years. Because those are always, sometimes, generally, some of the movies that the general public hates the most. However, like, movies like, I think La La Land was part of Best Picture nominee, at least. Didn't win.
It was, and it lost the Screen Actor Guild, I want to say, is the one it lost to Three Billboards or something like that. Or it lost to something, and they read the wrong name.
No, it was the Oscar. And
was that the Oscars?
Pretty sure, and it was supposed to be Moonlight.
Moonlight, yeah, that's what it was.
For some reason, I thought it was no, it was the Oscars. I thought it was like Screen Actors Guild Award.
No, that doesn't fucking broadcast.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Not in the way that anyone would give a shit.
That's fair. I think it's on like TBS or something like that, or it used to be. But the biggest problem with, in my opinion, with the the Best Picture Oscars, half of them are movies that made zero money in the box office, and they were basically made to win awards. Like, they weren't made to be entertaining in a lot of cases. There's usually one or two that were, but like in a lot of cases, you look at like what those directors make, and they make movies to win awards. That is what they do.
Yeah. That's not most of the time. The winners are movies that people don't watch. People don't see. So like 2025. We'll have to go. I'll list all of the what's it called? All of the nominees is Train Dreams, never heard of it. Sinners, Sentimental Value, The Secret Agent.
Sinners was really good. That was that like 1920s vampire movie with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. Marty Supreme, Hamnet, Frankenstein, F1, Begonia, One Battle After Another. Those were the nominees. Do you guys know the winner?
Nope. Begonias.
One Battle After Another. I've never even heard of it. Yeah. It's based on a novel called Vineland by Thomas Picton.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Neither have I. Never heard of this movie. Released in September. And it won Best Picture. What?
Yeah, 7 people saw it, but it got submitted to the Academy, and it was an artsy movie, probably, so it won the award.
Yeah, but like, how much I've heard about Sinners, like, how good I've heard that movie is, because that's also the one where Michael B. Jordan plays 2 characters, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, he plays 2 characters and actually, like, fights himself at times and stuff. Like, they did a lot of, like, technical work on that movie. I hear a lot of good about, like, the graphics and CG shit that they did in that. But it's just like that I hear that was a masterpiece. Nope. It didn't win. So like we can go into 2024. Wicked, The Substance, Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, Emilia Perez, Dune Part 2, Conclave, A Complete Unknown, The Brutalist, and Anora.
I'm going to say Anora, because I've never heard of it.
Anora was the winner.
Some of the other ones sounded familiar, and then there were some like Dune and Wicked I definitely knew.
Yeah.
Which means they definitely didn't win.
Yeah.
But yeah, for what it's worth, I was just looking, I forgot about this. Marissa Tomei won Best Supporting Actress Oscar for My Cousin Vinny to wrap it back around.
And also wrapping around to that AFI 100 Years, 100 Movies, there are 2 comedies.
Wow.
One of
Which
them,
two?
one of them we watched for book club, Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Okay.
And the other is Duck Soup, Marx Brothers. Is this a silent movie? It's from 1933.
But not My Cousin Vinny or Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls.
And so the newest comedy on that list as of their 2007 ranking in 19.
That's so stupid.
That's crazy.
Well, anything else either you guys want to say about My Cousin Vinny?
No, not really. Yeah. I think it's a very good, fun movie.
It's incredibly quotable. The cast was great. Just such a good movie.
Yeah.
Drew, did you have a pick?
I mean, I could pick one. I haven't I did not do a deep dive on what is available to actually watch anywhere. The one I could pick is available pretty much everywhere because it's from 1957.
12 Angry Men?
Yes. A movie that is on the AFI 100 Years 100 Movies list.
Wasn't there actually a remake of that somewhat
There
recently?
also was a remake in the 80s.
Oh, I thought there was actually a more
97.
Oh, 90. Sorry, 97.
Yeah.
I think there might have been one of those what do you call it? Like a remake that
that's
changed it up.
Can we watch the 97 one, cuz that's got Tony Danza and James Gandolfini in it?
It looks like it's on Prime Video.
It's on Prime Video.
I mean, if it's that one's also out there watchable, sure.
It actually looks like that one's a little bit easier to watch. The original of 1957 is on some stuff I've never heard of.
It's on YouTube, dude.
They're both on YouTube for free.
Weird. Why is it not showing up for free on YouTube for me?
I don't know.
Now it is. There we go.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, they're both on.
They're
on
actually
YouTube.
both just on YouTube. So yeah, sure.
So the 97 one?
Sure.
I mean, if you want to do the early 2000 or the 57,
the 1957 one's 30 minutes or 20 minutes shorter. But yeah, no, I mean the 97's or anything.
All right, so we'll do that one. I have a pick that we can for next time already that is also on YouTube. Surprisingly, I actually had trouble finding stuff. All of the legal movies I was thinking of aren't available on anything.
Yeah, I wanted to do what is the one with Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise?
A Few Good
Men.
Few Good Men.
That was also one I was thinking about.
I wanted to. I've wanted to watch that. It's not available anywhere unless you.
You have to buy it. I think.
Yeah,
I don't think it was even for rent anywhere. I think it was $15 purchases.
And what was the one about the Kennedy assassination?
Oh yeah, it is all 50. You're not thinking of JFK, are you?
No. No. Maybe it's not Kennedy assassination. I can't remember. There was one. Is it who was in it? Is it Michael Keaton?
Mr. Mom?
It might not be Michael Keaton. No, I don't remember who it was. I remember my dad liking a movie, and I thought it was it had something to do with the JFK assassination. I don't remember.
I mean, there wasn't ever a trial for the JFK assassination.
No.
So.
But I was looking up both legitimate stuff. I've always heard the Lincoln Lawyer was really good, and Kramer versus Kramer. And then also goofy things like Legally Blonde and Liar Liar. And just none of them are available on streaming stuff without paying. But I've ended up finding something.
Mm-hmm. Look, Legally Blonde is a great court film. The first one. Second one, she doesn't even go to trial.
I've never actually seen the second one.
I forget where someone was recently talking about the fact that there are zero court in Legally Blonde too. I was like, the fuck?
It might have been something I saw on TikTok or something. I don't remember. But yeah, it's the same thing. She does not go to court at all in Legally Blonde 2. She goes to Washington, but she doesn't even go to the Supreme Court or anything. She doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's very dumb. Anyway, Rich, how was this Hercules game you played?
So, it's Hercules and the 12 labors. And what it is you are going through the 12 labors that Hercules had to go through for redemption after he believes that he had caused the death of his wife and son. For anybody who don't know the exact story of Hercules, obviously Hercules, which his name is actually Heracles, is son of Zeus, bastard child of Zeus, and Hera was very mad at Hercules for being born, not at Zeus for fucking someone else. And to pay honor to Hera, Hercules' mom named him Heracles, which she took that as an insult, not as an honor. And so she made his life a living fucking hell. At one point or another, I don't recall why, something happens to his wife and son, and he thinks he killed them. He might have, one of the tales might be that he did, but he was like, basically sort of a Kratos thing, where like, he didn't know he was doing it, kind of. Or he feels he caused the death of his wife and son, and in order to redeem himself and regain a seat in Olympus, he is told that he has to complete 10 trials. So he goes to the person he has to go to complete these trials, and he works on completing the 10 trials. Now, while completing those 10 trials, 2 of them, they like loophole him, and it's like, one of them, he gets a little bit of help, and it's like, no, you have to do these trials yourself, so this one doesn't count. And then the other one, like, it kind of, they loophole him again. It's like, well, you didn't exactly do what you were supposed to do, so, like, you did it, but it wasn't, basically, you did it, but it wasn't the way we wanted you to do it, so therefore you didn't do it, so you need to add another trial. And they just, like, treat him like shit. So you are going through and completing the trials, and it's a dice pool game. It's a single player dice pool game where you are given little cards that you can read about each trial, and you are fighting bosses by rolling die and dice manipulation. So each trial you complete unlocks a different a way to manipulate the die. So the first card you get, or the first equipment card you get, is just his bow. And what you can do is deal 1 point of damage to yourself in order to increase the number on the die, either +1 or decrease it -1. And in an instance where, say, it's a 6, if you increase it to 1 by 1, it goes to a 1. Or if it's a 1 and you decrease it by 1, it goes to a 6. And you adjust the die so that in order to damage the bosses that you're fighting, or whatever you're doing for the trial, you need to roll specific numbers. So the first thing you're fighting is a boar. You need to roll a 6. So with your 4 die that you start out with, you roll your 4 die and hope that you can get a 6, and you have a certain amount of tracking with the damage die that you're dealing damage to the enemy before it reaches a certain space, and if it reaches that space, game over. Or if you lose your health, game over. Okay. All the while you're doing this, you also have to raise your divinity tracker up. And you have to reach divinity all the way to max level before you complete the last trial. If you do not reach it to max level before the last trial, game over. Like, you lose. Even though you won, you lose. And it's all about dice. It's building a high dice pool, which generally, like, comes as you play. There's seldom a time where you get more than how much the game gives you, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So there are cards called mood cards, which you, like, every time you face a trial, you shuffle your mood cards, you draw one. And based on whatever that mood card is, determines, like, a benefit or a buff or debuff. So it could be you lose some health, or it could be that you gain an additional die. But as you continue through the game, you actually remove some of the beneficial moods, and by the end of the game, there are no beneficial mood cards. There are all negative mood cards, and some of them are you lose a die in your dice pool, or it was take 5 health or lose a die or something like that. But you get eventually a card from completing one of the labors that allows you to redraw a mood card. So if you don't like the one you got, you can draw and take the next one. The next one could be better or could be worse. You never know. So, like, generally, I believe there's a total pool of 9 die that you can have, and at max, generally, at the end of the game, you're going to have 8. Which, like, you have a lot of die to manipulate. And then there's abilities where you can use a die, and it'll duplicate that die into another one that has that number on it. And then dealing damage to different enemies, it's either roll a 6, like, I think the second enemy you have to fight is rolling 3s, which can be hard. It's not always rolling the highest number. And then some of them are even like you need to roll. You need to take 3 die, and the 2 die that you're taking have to equal or less than the last die that you have when you add them together. So like 1 plus 2 equals a 3, or 1 plus 2 is less than a 6. That is 1 damage. It's not 3 damage. That's 1 damage. So the game then turns into the manipulation of having the multiple die and figuring out ways to have a higher dice pool while also like just figuring out how to keep your health up and just manipulating these die entirely. And it was really fun. It actually took me about 2 hours to play, give or take. There was a lot of rule checking. There was a lot of like making sure I'm understanding the like some of the card mechanics properly. I did mess up on one of the bosses. So one of the bosses, its health bar is 2 6-sided die stacked on top of each other. Well, the cards, the art and the card stock on the cards are beautiful, but like the cards themselves, like where you place the damage die, they're all gold. So it's sometimes hard to see, and it shows like a 6 with an X2 in the middle of the 6. So it was really hard for me to see the X2. So I didn't realize it till I beat the game and I was looking through the booklet that I messed that up. Each enemy tracker, so like the cards themselves, when you place the die, will tell you which direction to move the die, but sometimes you get to have a choice of multiple paths to take. And it's like you combine, I think Cerberus might have been the largest loadout of 4 cards piled onto one. Or not piled, but like the cards will make the picture of the enemy. And so you'll have to combine 4 cards to make the pathing that you can take with the damage die against Cerberus. And this is really cool because like you get this whole picture of Cerberus. I think one of the cooler ones was, I believe, the Amazon. You put a card facing tall ways on the top, and then a card long ways underneath it, and it kind of splits into 2 separate paths. And there's 2 die that start at the top that go down the 2 separate paths, which was it was really cool. Yeah, the art is just incredible. The cards are great quality. It gives you, every trial gives you the story of the trial and how Hercules completes it. And it's just, it leads to some replayability because maybe the next time you play, you might choose a different set of cards to take, or a different set of abilities. Maybe you'll draw different moods each time. I do wish that there was like a little bit more customization, because it is there, after a certain point, like you're just gonna generally probably be playing the same way. And so I wish there was like different abilities that you could get or change it up a little bit, because like once you beat it once, there's not really, the only other way to make it like harder, not even harder, but the only way to like change it up a little bit is by playing a harder difficulty, which is the base game mode. The easy mode is 5 die to start with. The normal is 4, and the quote God mode is 3. And the booklet even says like, you don't play the God mode. Like that isn't. It's incredibly difficult to play.
So you played the God mode immediately?
No, I played the normal mode, and the first time I played it, because it is based a lot on just dice rolls more so than dice pull at the beginning of it. It can be hard. So the second enemy you fight in the cards is the Hydra, which, if anybody doesn't know the story of the Hydra, you cut one head off, it regenerates 2 more. So to fight the Hydra, you need to you need to deal damage with a 3. You need to get a 3. And so at that point, you have 4 die. Your dice manipulation, you can, with 1 die, change, like add or subtract 1. And with 1 other die, if you roll a 6, you can change it to a 3. Or for 3, you can change it to a 6. So if you don't roll any 3s, but you happen to roll like a 4 and a 6, you can manipulate it to do 2 damage. However, every round, the Hydra heals by 1. And so if you're not getting consistent, and it only heals up to its max. So say you don't get any damage the next round, it's already back up to 6. And you only get a handful of rounds. Let me actually pull the card out to see how many rounds you have to do this. Where is the Hydra? let's see. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You get 9 rounds to take it down 6 health, but it heals every round. And actually, on the 5th round, it heals twice. So if you're not getting good dice rolls, like you're gonna like I made a video when I first tried it months ago, and I lost against the second monster. It was ridiculous, but it's really fun. I like the dice manipulation mechanic. Like I'm as much as I love
complex, but not bad.
It sounds complex until you start playing it, like most games in general. Like, because it's not something that's thrown all at you right away. It's incremental. As you complete each trial or labor, you get a new ability, and as you continue forward, sometimes some labors make you remove an ability when you finish it. But it doesn't stay difficult because like you're like, okay, right now all I can do is plus or minus 1 once. Then the next one I can plus or minus 1, or I can change a 6 to a 3 or 3 to a 6, or then whatever the next one is, or what. And like as you play it, there is more to it, but you've already been playing the past couple of rounds with what you already had, so it's more of just like adjusting. The worst part was putting the game back together in its box, because it is a one-player game with a story base, and you're supposed to fight these enemies in a specific order. So I had to put the cards in order from 1 to 60 or whatever, after having had taken some cards out and cards moved around and things like that, because like maybe one of the awards that I got, or the completed trials that I have and equipment I had at like the 4th trial, got thrown into the discard pile at like the 8th trial. So now that's elsewhere. So I had to like flip through and like organize it and set everything up back to the way it was. But it was really cool. It's really, really neat way to learn the story of Hercules if you don't know it. Really fun to play if you just have nothing going on and you want to kill some time. Like, say you have a half hour, like, all right, let's pull the game out. Let's play for a half hour. Figure out where you are at the end of that half hour and mark your spot and go do what you're doing. And next time you come out, oh, I was here and I had this. Let's start from there. Like it's a safe state basically. Like you just remember where you were, remember what you had. It was really cool.
That is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a very fun one-player game. Like I enjoyed it a lot. I suggest other people check it out. Like I said, the artwork is just incredible. It's got like all this gold lining on it on the box itself. Like I really love the artwork, and yeah, I'm trying to get more into specifically one-player games because I don't really get to board game as often as I want to. So let's do some single-player board games, and like the board games I have that have one-player modes, they're fine, like they're fun, but like I want to dive deeper into the one-player games, like games made specifically just for me to play when I have time to kill, and not like, as much as I love Aether Spire, I don't want to have to set that thing up to kill time, because that game takes so long to set up. But to play Hercules, and Dual Labors, just pop it out, set up my dice tray and my playmat, and boom, I'm ready. It's set up because it's in the order. The cards are placed in the order of how they're supposed to be played. Yeah, it's a really fun game. I recorded this playthrough. I have broken it down into several sessions. I'm not going. I don't think I said whether I won or lost. I just said I got further, I believe. So if you want to watch me play it and watch me work my way through it and cheat a little bit because I messed up, you can definitely come watch me over on YouTube. There was one instance where I forgot to draw a mood card until after like the first round of combat in the fight, and I was like, shit, because the mood cards could like really, really fuck you up. And so I was just like, all right, well, we'll draw the mood card now, and if it's beneficial, then I just didn't get the benefit. If it's a negative thing, then we'll figure out a way to like deal with it. And I pulled it; it was a beneficial thing. I'm like, good. I just didn't use the benefit that round. That's fine. Well, yeah, it's really cool. But like the game really does its hardest to make you lose. The further you go on, like I said, the mood cards get harder. It's not just dealing damage. It's not like the chance of 4 dealing damage, 1 lowering your dice roll. Like I think one of them is -1 to all dice rolls, and another one is +1 to all dice rolls. And then at one point the +1 to all dice rolls just becomes like something else that gets taken out. And I might have misread some of those mood cards. Maybe it's not -1
So
dice.
so if you won, your win is no good.
Well, I mean, like the only thing that I said I did wrong was I misread the boar card. And didn't realize that it needed 12 health and not 6. But like I said, it was or not the boar, the bull. And like I'm going to take a picture of it and send it to you guys, and like you'll kind of understand how hard it is, how you could miss the miss it. Because like I even have to angle it in a specific way so that I could get the light to show the ×2. There, I sent it in the Discord chat.
Oh, the cards are actually pretty cool looking.
Yeah, they're really cool cards.
I like the style of them. Are like so like on the Cretan bull. Are like the dice images on there like a little embossed because they almost look like they're like not flush. If that makes sense.
It's all flush. It's all flush. It's just like the way they did the gold, and it's like it's dotted in a. It's not like there's no texture to the cards, but the way they added the gold, like the gold is very shiny. Like it does look like it is embossed a little bit and pops out, but no, it's all flush. And maybe it is like embossed a little bit, but it's not very noticeable. But like you see that ×2 in the middle of the 6, when that's on the table, that's really hard to see, especially if like the light is shining down on it. Like I had to angle it in a specific way. That's the only thing that I like really messed up on. Like let's go through some of these mood cards. So there's 3 mood cards that are haunted, and it's lose. That's 4 mood cards that are haunted, and the 4 haunted mood cards are lose 3 health, lose 2, and lose 1. There's battered, which is minus a die, resolute, which is plus a die, ferocious, which allows you to turn 1 die into any number, enraged, which is +1 to all die with a maximum of 6, and then eventually you get melancholic, which is -1 to all die that you replace enraged with, I believe. Ghost of Aberdis, which is minus a die or take 5 health. Weight of Atlas, which is -2 die. Ghost of Hippolyta, which is roll dice being shown and a 1 can't be used. And then the last one, Ghost of Phalos, which is cover a reward. So cover one of your type of manipulation cards. And by the end of it, you no longer have resolute, ferocious, enraged, and melancholic. Those ones are taken out for the ghosts and weight cards. So you don't have any added benefits to your moods. It's all negative. Because at the end of the trials, he is beat up. He is not happy. He's been tortured, tormented, and this, I believe it says it takes him like 10 years to complete all the trials. Let's find the Cerberus card and see what it says. That's not Cerberus. I believe it says somewhere in the card how long it takes him to complete the trials.
It is a long time. I feel like 10 years is accurate-ish.
It's probably about 10 years. I know it says it somewhere on the Cerberus card. And the Cerberus card, lore card, is 2 cards long, front and back.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's very small writing. I'm bad at reading. It was rough. Yeah, I can't find it. But yeah, it's a really cool game. Really, really, really enjoyed it. I just dropped a bunch of cards. Damn it. I gotta clean that up. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely suggest anyone who wants to check out a one-player game, look into Hercules and the 12 Labors, especially if you like Greek mythology.
Nice. All right. I guess moving along, I continue to read some comics, and I started dipping into the Absolute Universe stuff that DC is doing. So it's kind of like when Marvel originally did their Ultimate Universe. So it's separate universe inside the DC worlds, retelling a lot of their kind of core characters. So they've got a Batman, a Superman, a Wonder Woman, a Flash, a Green Lantern. I think there might have been a Green Arrow and a Martian Manhunter so far. But whereas when Marvel did this in the early 2000s, they were essentially retelling a lot of the classic stories of their characters, just with kind of like modern twists and takes, and also condensing stuff into the most popular stories, essentially. So like in the Ultimate Universe, Spider-Man, he was bit by a genetically modified spider because by the year 2000, like radioactive spiders weren't really going to give you superpowers, but one that was genetically engineered could. The DC Absolute stuff going in a very different direction. So I've read the first arc, which is about 5 issues each of Batman and Superman so far, and then the beginning of each of their next arcs. In Batman's side of things, he's not rich. He was not raised rich or anything like that. His parents are like lower middle class. Like he grew up in Crime Alley. His dad was a teacher, not a surgeon. And his mom, I don't know what she did do, but in like the current timeline, she's actually deputy mayor. But only his dad died. His dad was shot by somebody at the zoo during a class trip because his dad was his teacher. And Bruce, when he was like 12, won like a science fair that his whole class got a trip to the zoo. And then somebody showed up and started killing people at the zoo. And his dad, did the heroic thing, got all the kids like hidden away in like the bat house, actually, I think is what it was, and stayed outside, and the shooter killed him. And that was sort of the thing that pushed him to become a vigilante. But in this universe, he's not rich, so he doesn't have, the mansion and the cave and all of that. He's basically like he's smart and he's resourceful. So during the day, he works like construction jobs. And then at night, he basically knows all the buildings in town that are still under construction and uses them as like essentially his bat caves. Like, because, a lot of them, they're high rises and stuff like that he's working on. So there's always server rooms and shit like that he can tap into. And they're empty because he's there at night. And since they're still under construction and all that stuff. And he's much more violent than regular Batman. Still isn't killing people, but also is like fucking people up worse than Batman usually does. Mm-hmm. And in this continuity, Alfred is actually some sort of like former special operative. Like he's a former like military, like special forces, who is now some sort of like government asset that tracks issues. And right now he was tracking Black Mask, who like in the normal DC universe is just kind of like mobster level problem. But in this one, he's actually, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, he reminds me a little bit of, you guys have both seen Batman Begins, right?
Yeah.
So you know how in that one, like Ra's al Ghul and like his whole thing, they kind of pick cities and decimate them so that they can be like rebuilt better. Like that was kind of like his shtick in that first movie. That's kind of what Black Mask is doing. Like he has some sort of like higher boss, but he's rich and he's basically working to destroy Gotham so that it can essentially get replaced by something larger that he would be in control of. So like just a really interesting like take on Batman, because it's basically like, would Batman be Batman without $1 billion? And like turns out he would be, and he doesn't actually even need like the parents got gunned down at the same time thing. Like he still has his mom, like she is still alive and well. And one other thing that's actually like a twist on like the whole story, his best friends are like a bunch of his classic villains. So because he grew up in Crime Alley, he's friends with the characters that would have historically been Killer Croc, the Riddler, Two-Face, the Penguin, and Catwoman. Like they literally like were like best friends as children and have like stayed friends growing up. But none of them have gone down like the super villain path that they do in like the modern stuff. But all of them have like some of the traits that you'd expect from them in like from the central universe.
Yeah.
So like just like a cool little take on that. The Superman book is actually the one that I think is significantly more interesting so far. So he's still Superman. He's still from Krypton. He's still, an orphan from a planet that's gone and probably the only survivor. In this universe versus Krypton, though, it did not explode when he was a baby. They haven't given an exact age, but I'm guessing he was somewhere between like 12 and 14 when it exploded. Like old enough to actually have full memories of his parents and his home planet and like everything that happened. And it's also a Krypton where whenever you see it in other media, whether it's like the movies, the cartoons, the comics, it's much more of like, it's depicted as almost like an idealized world. Like everyone's kind of like living in like this futuristic city. There's a lot of emphasis on like your family name, like the House of El and Zod and all that stuff. And like the Superman S is always like, that's his house's symbol. In this universe, that is actually the symbol of just the lower class. They almost like scarlet letter people in this one, depending on what class you're pushed into. Like the upper class is like your science council people, and then you have like the middle class are like soldiers, police, stuff like that, and then your lower class are your like manual labor people, so mechanics and farmers and miners and all that shit. And they're literally looked down on, and they all have to wear the S, and the other castes all like wear like a different symbol to signify that who their betters are, essentially. So his family is in the lower class because while his mom and dad were both very smart, they also didn't like drink the Kool-Aid. So they got sort of like ostracized and outcast and were forced into like the lower class. But his dad was still the one to understand that the planet was going to explode and try to do something about it. Only to find out that the people at the highest levels knew it was happening, and they were already taking precautions by building ships that would only save them and would sacrifice everybody beneath them, essentially. And that didn't go well because while Superman's family was trying to like get stuff done, Superman, as a child, released all of that information, and all of the lower class people basically revolted, so none of them got out. And Superman ended up being the only one to get away in a ship that his parents built, that was supposed to take all of them, but essentially got destroyed while they were trying to escape as the planet was falling apart. And he was more or less got away in like a escape shuttle sort of thing. But just like your regular Superman story, like he's powered by the Earth's yellow sun. So like when he got close to Earth, all of those powers started to unlock. Unlike in your traditional one, like obviously he wasn't a baby. He also has like this AI thing with him. That I'm trying to think of the best way. It's kind of like partially like sentient armor in a way. That it in the comic it's mostly depicted as his cape a lot of times, or like it's not a cape, but the way it's drawn is symbolic of like Superman with his cape, but he can use it to like protect people and shield people and stuff like that. And the AI portion of it can also like tap into like networks and get information and like point him in the right direction of things. And so he has been going around the planet essentially like freeing what are, for better or worse, slaves from like those like really shitty mining operations, like diamond, like blood diamond sort of mining operations that all seem to be run by who I'm assuming is going to be Lex Luthor, who may also in this world be Brainiac, because they haven't shown us the villain like front facing, but they show somebody in like that classic like green and purple kind of color scheme that Lex has on like his armors and stuff like that, sitting at a computer, and has had him referred to as Brainiac. So I'm thinking they might like be combining those two characters in it. And then Lois shows up as an actual soldier for that company, who is like there to stop Superman, but then like gets saved by her and is now kind of on a mission just to like get answers and figure out what the fuck's going on. So she is like more of a what's the word when you're like a boss as a soldier? Like an officer. So she's like more like an officer level. They're like grunt level are fucking peacemakers, like from like the Suicide Squad movie. Only instead of it just being the one dude, John Cena's character, everybody's a peacemaker. Like they all wear like the same like stupid fucking outfit.
Interesting.
Yeah, like your class is classic, like the Christopher Smith who Cena plays in the movie and the series. He is one of them. and he just happens to be one that is he's obviously being spotlighted because it's the character from the other universe comics, like the core comics. But he's the one that's having the most issue dealing with shit. And in the most recent issue, blacked out and murdered an entire village of people. But like, so while all this is going on, these soldiers and stuff are expected to like file reports, and all of that stuff is done through the Brainiac AI, who they show us every time somebody is using this thing. It is intentionally like taking in the information incorrectly and responding with like incorrect information. So like when Lois is doing it initially, she's like, I don't think this guy's a threat. And the software responds, he is a threat and must be destroyed. Got it. And then when the one named Peacemaker is in there having like what is essentially a like therapy session, I think, with like the AI, he's like, he was basically admitting that everything was too much for him. He needed actual help. And he wasn't okay. And the AI is like, no, your gun just misfired. You're fine. We're going to get you a new gun. You're just going to go back out there. You've done nothing wrong. You're good to go. And like basically set him up to go murder people.
Interesting. Weird.
Yeah. It's what they're doing with this stuff is it's really kind of cool.
Is it connected universe? Like, are they all going to be like?
I think they are all in the same universe, but they're definitely similar to what Marvel did when they originally did the Ultimate stuff. They're letting them breathe on their own, at least right now.
Yeah.
But like, and so like I'm 6 or 7 issues into just Batman and Superman so far. Like I said, there's a Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, a bunch of other ones. And it's like still ongoing, but I think it's actually going to be wrapping up soon-ish. Most of the ones that launched initially, so like I think it was Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman were the first 3. Those are all around 20 issues right now. And I don't know if they're like going to be going long term or if there is like a finite end. I think I read something that maybe it was like meant to be like maybe like a 2-year thing, and then they're going to wrap it up and not drag it out. But everything I've seen, like, it seems like it's pretty popular and that people are enjoying it. So who knows? Maybe they keep it going for longer than that. Because like I said, like I really liked the old Marvel Ultimate stuff because it did fun things with kind of the stories you knew. Like when Marvel did it, they had, to use like the X-Men as an example, they put the Phoenix Saga and the Apocalypse stuff together, and kind of like took bits and pieces from the originals of both and made them like one kind of modernized story. That's also the place where they ended up making Reed Richards the villain at the end of Fantastic Four. And he's still a villain. Like, he's one of the few Ultimate characters aside from like Miles that they've kept around and have made like an actual threat like across the comics. In Spider-Man, they did stuff like Harry and Norman, instead of being they were both goblins, but instead of being like guys in suits that had like super soldier serum-esque side effects, they became actual like monsters. Gwen did get murdered, but then she basically got resurrected by like the Carnage symbiote, and like not as a villain, like literally like something happened with the symbiote and like cloned her, but like she kept all of her memories and just became her again. It was very weird. But it was still like following along with things that we knew and that were kind of like defined over the 40-50 years that came before it. DC's like, no, we're going to do something different. You know, the characters, we're going to have the names and faces you're familiar with, but we're going to let these creators play with them in totally different ways.
This like, you are comparing this to Ultimate. This, I'm thinking more about that Spider-Man comic you had us read.
So that was also Ultimate Spider-Man. That was just the rebooted Ultimate.
Is that what that was? I thought it was something different.
No, so like Marvel did a stupid thing about 10 years ago. They destroyed the original Ultimate Universe that had been running since like the year 2000. And then 2 or 3 years ago, they quote unquote relaunched it. It's not the same Ultimate Universe, but they gave it like that branding. And yeah, it is very similar to that. You're right. Like that is actually a pretty good comparison. The difference I would say is in that Ultimate Universe, a lot of these heroes now know what their universe should have been, essentially, because that was the whole kind of setup for that book. Is the evil Reed Richards actually showed up and time traveled a whole bunch and just prevented these people from becoming heroes, so that this world just had no heroes. And then Tony Stark, as like a teenager in this, finds out about it and starts going to all these people and showing them that they should have been a hero and giving them their powers, or offering them their powers at least. Whereas in this one, it's literally like, no, like this, just different shit happened. Like, I haven't had anything specific come up in the Superman book yet, but in Batman, during one of the issues, the first arc does a lot of flashbacks of both books, actually, where it's showing us like the character as a kid and then them currently. And in the Batman book, there's the scene where Bruce is working on the science project that got them the zoo trip. And he's talking to his dad, and his dad says something that, like, before Bruce was born, he was actually in med school. He was going to be a surgeon. And then, like, his mom got pregnant. He had to, like, pull out of college to get, like, a job and all, because they had, like, just gotten married. And he pivoted to teaching instead of being a surgeon. And they had, like, a conversation about how, like, he's helping people either way. Like, fixing sick people and, like, teaching children. Like, he's trying to better the world kind of no matter what he does. But, like, like, that little bit of the story kind of alludes that, oh, had Thomas actually had the time to get through college and become, like, this famous surgeon, that story would have probably played out similar to what we're used to in, like, the mainline Batman books. Though also it's probably still a little different, because I believe, like, the Wayne family was, like, rich coming into it. Or maybe it was... Yeah, no, it had to be, because, like, Wayne Tech was a company. Like, his famous surgeon father wouldn't have also started, like, a tech company. So, like, obviously that part wasn't happening here, but, you know, famous surgeon would have probably still not lived in Crime Alley. But a teacher who was underpaid definitely would.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see more of, like, both of these, and to actually, like, dip into some of the other books. Like, I've heard Wonder Woman is actually really good, and apparently the Martian Manhunter one too. Flash and Green Lantern, I don't know that I've actually seen anyone talk about those, and both of those characters can be very hit or miss, especially Green Lantern. Like, I feel like if people don't have a good grasp on that character, it's really hard to write them well. Because they're basically space cops with magic rings that can do anything they can think of as long as they believe hard enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, these books are actually, they're really good.
Yeah, they sound very different. They sound like they're also trying to connect with, like, they're trying to depart from, like, a lot of their
100
heroes.
years of fucking backstory, essentially.
Well, they're trying to depart from all of their heroes coming from upper class. Like, it's very hard to find a mainline DC hero that doesn't come from upper class in some way, shape, or form.
Superman, the Flash.
Superman comes from upper class in Krypton. You straight up said
in theory,
it earlier.
But, like, he doesn't know that. Like regular Earth Superman landed as a baby and was raised by farmers.
Yeah, he was raised by farmers, but then eventually he does learn about his family and learn, like, it's in every Superman story he learns about that his parents were scientists that sent him off the planet and blah 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 and this and that. Now I'm referencing a lot of movies and TV shows and whatnot, but, like, yes, each one is a little bit different, but he still does come from upper class in some way, shape, or form, even though his Earth parents are farmers. But, like, the Flash is really one of, like, the Flash and maybe Green Lantern.
Yeah, all the Green Lanterns, I'd say. Nightwing, Red Hood, Wonder Woman came from an island, so
I don't count Nightwing and Red Hood from not coming from upper class because they were adopted by a rich man
as teenagers.
Still adopted, still have wealth. They have sad backstories from losing their parents and whatnot.
No, I mean, Red Hood was literally just homeless.
Yeah, he was homeless, but they become adopted by a rich man, and they are rooted in wealth. Like, uh, uh, um, Wonder Woman is a princess. Like, she's a demigod just because she comes from an island. She's an Amazonian princess.
Cyborg was a football player,
Cyborg was a football player of
like a college football player.
From the son of a prolific scientist who like
They were not rich though.
no, they weren't rich, but like
They were middle class scientists.
But I said mainline. I don't see Cyborg as mainline.
He's a member of the Justice League.
Every superhero is a member of the Justice League.
But like in the last like 20 years, he has been a core member of the Justice League.
Yeah, he has become more mainline, but like though. So I see Cyborg now as, yes, he is a more well-known character, but back when like he is equivalent to what like Captain America was when the MCU started. Captain America wasn't a mainline hero and a household name when the MCU started.
Oh yeah, like, not at all.
Oh, I mean,
the mainline, the core names and the mainline heroes from the Marvel universe were Spider-Man and the X-Men primarily. Maybe Iron Man, but like
I mean the reason Spider-Man and the X-Men weren't owned by Marvel is because those were some of the heroes that other studios were interested in buying when Marvel was going through bankruptcy. And then they bought some of the other ones, like I think they got a deal with Daredevil or maybe like something like that. Same thing, like I think Blade was one of those things where they knew they could do something a little edgier with that for like the time that they bought it. But when it came to like starting the MCU, they had like Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man were actually like kind of like B and C list heroes at the time because like they weren't all that important to the comics. Their books weren't selling like crazy. Other than when they were connected to like the major crossovers, like Captain America. Captain America was picking up some steam because of Civil War and like the Death of Captain America stuff that had happened shortly before the movies. But yeah, like those movies made those characters like main heroes to like the general public.
In my opinion, I believe I would say and I would argue that DC heroes were more of a household name than most of the Marvel heroes that we know of nowadays. Back when the MCU started.
I mean, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman for sure.
Yeah,
like those three.
I would argue Flash as well.
I was gonna say the Flash too because the Flash did
the Flash show was out.
And I think that's the thing. Like DC actually had more live action TV shows throughout the years because there was a Wonder Woman show in the 70s, there was Supergirl in the 80s, there was Flash in the 90s. There's been a bunch of Supermans.
They've also been a lot more like out with animated stuff that weren't geared towards kids.
I mean, the DC, especially in the 2000s, had the much better like animated movie lineups with like the Batman and Superman movies that they were doing for a little while there, and even into the 90s, like all the everything that spawned out of Batman the animated series. Like Heart of Ice won a fucking Emmy.
Yeah. So it was like DC was for like a household name, and when I mean household, I'm not just saying nerds. I'm saying like if you take the entire United States and you ask them Marvel heroes and DC heroes, they would know more DC heroes than Marvel heroes. Now, you could make the argument that that would be inherently kind of false because you could say any number of the X-Men from 97 or 96 or whatever, 92 from that series. And yes, they know all of those, but they know all of them as the X-Men. They're not like one-off characters that are generally by themselves. They're part of that main core team.
For sure.
Which is why I would more so argue that, like, even though they know more characters from that, DC was more of a household name.
Superman. If you ask a random person to name a superhero, they're probably
Superman or Batman.
Say either
Batman, Superman, stuff like that, especially back pre-MCU era.
I think even today, still today,
so maybe I think Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman are probably the three most named heroes.
Yeah.
Unless you get somebody who's purposefully trying to be like obtuse, like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man are probably the three.
Yeah. I mean, I would say probably maybe number 4 would maybe be Wolverine.
I think Wolverine could be up there, though. I think like today you actually might get like Iron Man or Captain America or Thor or something like that in there before Wolverine. Just because those characters do have such a presence from like the MCU now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like I generally tend to lean more towards like the Marvel comics. Like they're not always good, and actually like a lot of their flagship books, like Spider-Man, hasn't been especially good in a long time. But like other books that I wouldn't have expected to be as good as they actually are pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Whereas like DC, it's like they have like 2 or 3 books that are almost always pretty good, and then a lot of other stuff that I just don't give a shit about. And like right now, it seems like that the absolute stuff might be just like kind of solid across the board. If the other series are even half as good as what Batman and Superman have been so far.
I am more interested to read the absolute stuff than I am any other comic out there, especially Marvel comic.
Yeah, actually, I think I have a screenshot on my phone, so I'm going to send a screenshot to the chat real quick because it's very funny. But it also kind of gives an example of what this book is. Did I not take an actual screenshot of it? You know what? I took it. I hate like Google Photo doesn't always like it syncs all my pictures, but depending on the app you're trying to share it from, it doesn't always like acknowledge that it's synced from Google Photo. Here it is though. Copy the chat app over here. So that is from Absolute Batman like 5 or something like that. And so for everybody that can't see the picture I included, Batman just landed on Black Mask's boat where like he's doing stuff, and this like what appears to be a kid attacks him with a knife and is saying something that's a curse, cut you into, and then Batman shoves a life vest on him, and the kid goes, what are you? Stop, man, I'm just a kid, you can't. And then Batman just fucking punts him into the ocean, like drops him, pulls his leg back, and kicks him as hard as he fucking can into the ocean.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a good book. Like I said, Superman book's also good too. Like that when so in issue like 3 or 4, I want to say it is, Lois is going around to like the different places that Superman has kind of like liberated, and is interviewing people trying to get information on him. And at one point, on one of the panels, like a lady basically doesn't have an eye and like her face is all wrapped up, and her question is like, who hurt you? And she finds out it was one of the Peacemakers, and she figures out which one it was, and like the next panel is her is one of the Peacemakers on the ground bleeding and him trying to like argue, and her shoving a cattle prod into his mouth and electrocuting him. And then asking him which hand he uses to hit people, and then breaking every finger on it and walking away. And it was, yeah, they're not pulling any punches in the books either. Like, it's not that they're like overly dark and violent, but they're also like, they're leaning into the fact that like some of these people are violent, and the only way to like end it is to end it quickly. But yeah, that's all I got. These books have been great so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. I'm interested in it. I think they're cool.
One little side thing, specifically for you, Rich, if you're at any point looking for a new anime to watch, I don't know for sure what platforms it's on other than Crunchyroll, but Witch Hat Atelier is airing now. I talked about the manga like a year and a half ago. The anime is really good. It looks incredible. They did such a good job animating it that just visuals alone is worth watching it. So, yeah.
It looks like it's just on Crunchyroll right now.
I'll have to and you don't have that, right?
No, I don't.
Well, that's a bummer. But
yeah,
if you do sign up for it at any point, it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, there's no... It's not on It's not on Disney.
That's stupid.
Critical Role just announced a new miniseries starting in July. So they finished their first like leg of the new campaign. Which like all 3 tables had 10 episodes or something like that. And then they're like
30 episodes total right now.
It's more than that, I think. Let me go to Beacon and see how many episodes, because they had 4 episodes. It's their own streaming service.
Oh, are they not on YouTube and stuff anymore?
They are, but they also have Beacons. It's similar to how like Dropout had Dropout or it's a way to like for them to step away from Twitch and YouTube and like self-fund by people paying them directly, basically, instead of going through the others. And it also allows them to have more like control over the content they make and push more content in general. Oh wow, only 25 episodes. So it might have been like 8, 16, 24. No, it might have been like 7 episodes apiece. 7 or 8 episodes apiece for each table. And then they're all coming back together for a couple of episodes. And then they're probably taking a summer break, and they announced that they're doing another
miniseries.
Another miniseries for Daggerheart, which was called am I blanking on what it was called? I'm so mad that I'm blanking on what it was called because I really liked it. Because it was very Age of Umbra. It was very dark and gritty, and very difficult. Like anybody could have died. And I think and when you die, you're out. There's no like new characters being made and stuff. And it was really cool. It was very like Soulsborne inspired and stuff. And Matt was the DM for this. They announced a new season is coming out in July, and Jennifer English, who is the voice of so many characters.
Oh yeah, she's one of the.
She's Mayel in Expedition 33. She was Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3. She's in so much. She's actually going to be a player in this series. So I was like, that's pretty cool. Like they got a bunch of names that like I've seen on the channel before, and then they got Jennifer English. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that might be a show.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
All right. Well, if you'd like to find some more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us every $1, though, you go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, rate us, review us, subscribe to us. They all help. We're on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @one_quest on Instagram and Twitter. And our Blue Sky is at one-quest.com. You can find our YouTube channel, youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And then, Rich, what does your streaming look like?
Twitch.tv/B_walnuts for video game streaming, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. I should be wrapping up Lies of P this weekend. So come for the finale of that. I'm over that game. It's not bad. I've been playing it a long time, and we'll talk about it next week because I haven't talked about it at all.
I was going to say, I don't think you've actually talked about it other than mentioning you've been playing it.
Yeah, I haven't talked about it at all. So we'll talk. I'll get a full rundown about it next week.
Nice.
But the only thing really to promote besides that, June 6th, Saturday, June 6th, is the start of my 5-year anniversary stream-a-thon type thing. Donation, bits, subs, all that stuff goes towards making the challenge harder. And every like couple of dollars donated to me, or every subscribe to me, will add a We'll add an additional life that I have that I can play with in Hollow Knight. And if I run out of lives or run out of challenges to complete, game over. Otherwise, I have to continue to push on the challenges. You can make it harder for me. Eventually, we do unlock unlimited lives because some of the harder challenges are things like the Path of Pain and the boss rushes and stuff like that. So if you want to come and make me have to do things that I never thought I'd probably ever do, even though I absolutely love that game, mark your calendar for June 6th and 7th. And anytime I play, the event's going to go on until we clear all of the challenges. And that could mean that I may also have to play Silk Song, and depending on how high of donations we get, I may have to have a couple attempts at Iron Soul, which means that's permadeath. So if I die 3 hours into the game, I have to restart, and I have it's the minimum is $150 to unlock one attempt, and then it's $10. Every $10 after that unlocks an additional attempt until I run out of lives or beat the game, which I don't think I'll beat the game, but we'll see.
Nice.
But that's a long shot, but it's all based around Hollow Knight, and if we reach different follower numbers or viewer numbers or hype trains, I'll eat chocolate covered bugs, because that's the only way I'm going to eat bugs, is if they're covered in chocolate. Ain't no way I'm eating them if I can see them. I'm already not looking forward to eating chocolate covered bugs as it is. I don't know
I'm
why
sure
I
it'll
did
be
this to
fine.
myself. I don't know why I did this to myself, but I
Is
did
there
it.
is there a donation amount to make you eat chocolate covered bugs?
No, no. I don't think so. Let me pull up. I have not set that yet because, like, I do worry about eating the bugs and how it'll make me feel and stuff. The last time I did any sort of like major eat thing, it was the Bean Boozled, and I had to stop because it was making me sick. So where is it? Hollow Knight? Hype train level. So depending on what level of hype train we get, anytime we get a hype train, I have to eat that many number of bugs. For every new follower or new YouTube subscriber, I have to eat a bug. And for every once we reach 10 followers, 20 followers, and 50 followers, or not followers, viewers at one time, I have to eat a bug as well. So yeah, but those will be at like the 10 viewers, 20 viewers, and 50 viewers, and the followers and stuff. That's every time I'm playing the games. It's not just during the weekend. Same with hype train levels, and
Okay.
same with all the donations. Like this year, I'm not like in previous years when I did it. It was like if you do say you sent over 100 bits, it would be 1 power moon. If you sent 500 bits, it would be 10 power moons, something like that. This time it's just flat out if I make this much money in subs, bits, or straight up donations on Ko-fi, however you're supposed to pronounce it. Just whatever you do, as long as we make total X amount of money, it'll unlock each tier. So if we make $10, which is about it's basically 4 subs that I have to defeat 12 bosses in the game. That will also, with the $10, unlock about 10 lives, give or take. So I have 10 lives to defeat 12 bosses. I'm right now trying to play with how much donation wise should unlock the unlimited lives. So should it be? I'm thinking like at $15, but maybe I might bring it up to like $25. Because it's one thing that I worry about is if say we don't unlock unlimited lives, but we do unlock for me to fight like the final boss like the final boss. But I run out of lives while fighting it, then I'll feel bad because I can't continue. So like, well, starting off with like 12 bosses and I only have 10 lives, like that's a challenge. But then, all right, now it's unlimited lives because it's broken down with the first tier is 12 bosses, the next tier is unlimited lives, the third tier is 25 bosses, which is basically which it's not all the bosses, but it's most of the bosses. And then the next tier after that is every boss with the exception of the boss rush and Radiance, which is the final boss. Then the next tier after that is the Delicate Flower race, which is getting an item from one spot to another across the map without using fast travel and without getting hit. Then unlocking Radiance at $35 or at the next tier. And then after we unlock Radiance, it's unlocking the different boss rush fights with the Path of the Master, the Artist, the Sage, then the Knight. Then we have to do the Path of Pain, which is their platforming section. And then it's the last one is the final boss rush, which is all 42 bosses in the game with harder versions of the final 2 bosses in the game.
Okay.
Then the next tier would be playing through Silksong Act 1. Then the next tier after that would be playing through Silksong Act 2 with one specific ending. Then the next tier would be doing Act 2 with a different ending. Then the next tier after that would be unlocking and doing Act 3. Next tier after that would be doing Path of Pain, and that ends at 130, and then it's $20 more before we do additions to the Iron Soul runs. So it's once we reach 150, it's one attempt at Iron Soul, and then $10 for each attempt after that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more streamlined. I'm worrying myself that like I may have made these thresholds too low, especially for some of the harder things like the boss rushes. I'm worrying that I might have made it a little too easy to get to those numbers. But like I'm worrying that we're going to be able to reach 150 very easily and then continue from there very quickly to.
I mean, somebody could just give you $150 and you have to do all of them, right?
Yeah, if somebody donated $150, like that unlocks everything, and then every $10 after that turns into like Iron Soul attempts. And not saying I don't want to do the Iron Soul attempts, but I don't want to be halfway into Hollow Knight Silksong and die and still have 4 more Iron Soul attempts left. Like so like I worry that 150 may be a little too low, or maybe that $10 level might be a little too low. So I'm still playing with and messing with the numbers, but I also want to know like what other unlocks should I have? Like what games would people want to see me play if we reach certain thresholds? So like for instance, if
Super Mario Brothers Special.
No. For instance, if we reach $25 along with unlocking all the bosses, what else should I add? Or how would you all feel if I, at the $25 mark, I move all bosses down and add a different game completely that I have to add to the backlog? Something like that. I'm still figuring out to make it the most exciting, and I'm also trying to figure out things to do to persuade people to donate and sub once we do reach unlimited lives. Because that's the other thing is, once we reach unlimited lives, then there's no benefit to donating besides trying to reach the thresholds. So it's like, at first it's like, here's some more life. But now it's like, all right, well, you already have unlimited lives, so what else can we do for you? Or what else can I give back for doing it? So I'm still messing with it. I've got a couple of weeks. But definitely come and hang out.
Nice.
It'll be really fun. I hope.
Cool. Well, with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.